Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for clicking on that video. I know it has taken me a while to record these videos, but I'm glad to be back. So today I'm gonna tackle laundry again. I do enjoy folding laundry. That is one of my house chores that I do really enjoy. I'm gonna have more videos uploading, so if you have not subscribed, kindly click on the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified anytime I upload new videos. So on today's twist, I'm going to base it on the word of God again, kama kawaida. That will be in the book of Matthew chapter 19 verse 19, which talks about loving our neighbors. I would want to pose a question to you or something to think about concerning that neighbor. That neighbor will be today focusing on a colleague or an employee. If you're a boss, would your employees look for you if you're not around for work, or would they want to know where you are, or they'll be celebrating that you did not turn up? If you're an employee, would your boss look for you if you did not turn up for work and there's nothing from you saying why you did not turn up for work? Would they call you? Would they want to find out what happened to you? Would your fellow co-workers look for you? Would they, what kind of a relationship have you created in your place of work? So today's story is about this lady. Her name is Maury. Marti. Yes, it's Maury. Okay, I'll call her Mary for ease of pronunciation. So Mary was a colleague, and she worked in a farm where her colleagues described her as a hard worker. She had a good relationship with each and every one of them, including her boss. And one day she just did not turn up for work, and the colleagues were alarmed. They were like, she doesn't miss work, so what is happening? So she didn't come in at 8 o'clock, and then there was a meeting at 11 o'clock, a staff meeting, and she did not turn up for that one either. So they started calling her, texting her, but she was not responding. And during the meeting, they did not have an actual meeting to discuss their work issues. They were discussing her not showing up for work. That is the kind of relationship she had created at work. So the boss, yes, her boss, decided to drive to her house. And I'm just laughing and thinking, how many bosses know where their employees live? Not even their names. I'm talking about where they live. So anyway, he drove all the way to her house, and he noticed the car was still there, but the house wasn't looking like it was broken into or anything. So he called the co-workers and his employees and said, you know what, her car is still here, so it's like she's still in the house, but I can't find her, I can't see her. So would you mind calling the police so that they do a welfare check? So one of the colleagues called the police, and they said, she's supposed to turn up. She was supposed to turn in at 8 o'clock. She didn't show up, and we had a meeting. She didn't show up for the meeting. Could you kindly just go and check whether she's okay or she's still in the house? What's going on? It was around 11 o'clock now. So the police went. So the police man who went to check, he says that he did find the car. And when he checked around the house, he didn't find any breaking or anything like that. And on checking on the front door, it was open. So he opened the door and went in. He found her purse was still at the kitchen counter. So he knew she was around. So he started calling her name and asking her where she is, but there was no response. And he checked around the house and noticed there was a basement. So before he got into the basement, I have another story for you. This one is a Kenyan version. So I had this story. This one is a third party story. So there was this lady who their family owns a big piece of land, and she decided, you know what, because we don't do anything on this land, do you mind, she asked the parents, do you mind if I go and do some farming? And she had the passion, and the parents were like, okay, yalla, go. So she went and she started her farm, and it was doing well. She was able to employ people who were coming casually every day, and she had 2 permanent employees. So these 2 permanent employees had a kind of jealousy on her. I don't know what gets into people, but they started being jealous of her, and being a woman, they started plotting evil upon her. So one day they decided, you know what, today is today, we're gonna do what we're gonna do. So they waited for the casual workers to leave, and they pounced on her. They raped her, they beat her up, and made sure that she was left for dead. There was a hole being dug in that farm, and yes, they put her inside that hole. On top of that, they put some mattresses they were sleeping on, and they were planning they're gonna do the whole thing and then run away, go back to their homes, to their rural homes. So they did that. They put her in that hole, put the mattresses in, put the soil on top, and they left. So the following day, the workers are coming, and she's nowhere to be seen. So they got alarmed. They looked for her, they couldn't find her. So they alerted the family, and 3 days later, this lady, that's when she was found. Yeah, they found her. Guys, they did find her. They found her in that hole, dug it up, and she was still alive. Kai, she was still alive. I heard this story and I was like, what? Yes, 3 days later, she was still alive. She was barely breathing, so they took her to the hospital. They had to cater for her. Fast, they didn't want to know the story. They just wanted to make her better. So she was rushed to the hospital, and she survived. And she was able, a couple of days later, she was able to tell her ordeal. And these 2 guys were not haunted, hunted. Yeah, they were hunted all over. And yes, the law caught up with them, and they were arrested. So I'm happy justice was served. So back to my story. This policeman, still in Mary's house, saw there was a basement. So he opened the basement door, and he realized it was pretty dark. So he put on his torch, and he started calling her as he was going down. And as he was going down, he saw some blood stains. And at the end of the stairs, he saw a body. He wasn't sure whether this was the lady or not, because she was bleeding from head to toe until her skin had turned color. He couldn't tell whether she was black, or he wasn't sure she was the one. So anyway, he called the ambulance, and they came in, took her to hospital, and to their surprise, she survived. She did survive. But her family says when they saw her in hospital, they couldn't tell whether it was her. She was swollen all over. She had cuts on her neck, bruises on her head. She had blood running all over her body, and they couldn't tell for sure it was her. And glory to God, she recovered. And her first word was the perpetrator of what, or of who did what happened to her. You know, she said the name. So what happened is, in the morning, she was getting ready to go to work. She had some noise outside her door, and she went to check. So she opened the door, and she found this guy. And this guy was her handyman that her mother had recommended. His name was Brian. So there was some work that she wanted done in the house, and she had mentioned that she wanted to sell the house. So this handyman had already finished his work. So she was wondering, what is he doing back to my house? And she was done with him. He had finished the job. So the guy said, oh no, I had heard you had told me you wanted to sell the house, and there was something that I saw in the basement that needs fixing. So she was like, okay, fine. So they went to the basement, and that's where the deed happened. So she noticed. She said she noticed that she was talking to him, but he wasn't responding, and he was behind him. So when she turned, the guy grabbed the neck, choked her until she was out of breath. She was unconscious. So when she regained her consciousness, she felt something heavy on her, but she tried to fight it off and couldn't. And she was just asking him, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And she blacked out again. It was just beating on her, and she blacked out. So when the boss came, she was asked whether she had anybody calling her or anything. She said she had absolutely nothing. She was unconscious the whole time. She became conscious when she was in the hospital, and she was able to remember what happened to her. So how they got this guy is the mother was also investigating, because they questioned that everybody was related to her. Her children, she had 2 children, but they were not living with her. So they questioned the children, and they questioned the ex-husband. She was married before, and the ex-husband mentioned the handyman, Brian, that was working in the house, and now they investigated Brian. So Brian was arrested, and they were so surprised to know that he lived like 90 minutes away from her, and he drove all the way to her house just to do that, only to find out that this guy was just somebody who was angry and abusive to even the wife. The wife had covered him because she was afraid of what he would do to her. And finally justice was served, and Brian was arrested. Some blood was found in one of his clothes, and it tested positive for Mary's blood, and that's how he was arrested, prosecuted, and jailed. He was jailed for 28 years. So when I heard this story, I was like, what kind of a relationship have we created with our colleagues, workmates, our boss? Would they look for us if we disappeared? Would they want to find out where we are if we didn't show up for work? Or would they be like, whatever, they will call us when they're ready? What kind of a relationship have you created with your next door neighbor if you don't go to work, or you're a stay-home person? What kind of a relationship have you created with your neighbor? If your neighbor wouldn't see you like in a few days, they don't see you, would they look for you? Would they call you? Would they be that neighbor that would say, my neighbor does love me, I love my neighbor, and I would want to know what is going on with them? Do you check on your neighbors? Do you check on your colleagues? Do you check on your employees? Do you create a good relationship, a good rapport with them? That is a question to ponder on, and I would love to hear from you from the comment section. Kindly do like this video, share it with your friends, and I would want to put that disclaimer that the story I gave about the Kenyan story, I may not have the full details of what happened to these guys after the arrest, but it was just a third-party story, and I wanted to bring out the good neighborhood, the good relationship between neighbors, and what would your employees or your colleagues or your neighbors say about you, and would they be there for you if you had issues? So if you watched this video this far, thank you. I did enjoy folding this laundry, and this was really enjoyable for me, especially because my family was near, and if you can notice, I'm chit-chatting here and there, laughing, and they were there giving me some company. It was very nice, and more videos are coming up. Kindly do stick by, do not go anywhere. More videos are uploading, and I do apologize for taking too long on this one, and many more are coming. More chores are coming. The chores that I do enjoy mostly, I would mention, is washing utensils. I don't like cleaning the house, but I will show you a bit of what I do. And I do enjoy the laundry, not washing it but folding it, and I also do enjoy arranging stuff. So thank you so much, guys, for watching and listening. May God bless you so much. May you have a blessed week, and thank you again. If you haven't subscribed, kindly do remember to subscribe and put a thumbs up on that video. Thank you, and God bless you.